Welcome to today's vlog with the Max. Today's video is going to be what we feed our animals. When you're trying to be organic or holistic or natural or non-GMO, you know that's a big concern sometimes when you're trying to find feed for your animals. So when you don't live in a place that has a big surplus of organic foods, or you live close to places like New Country Organics or a Reedy Fork or some of the Green Mountain, some of those bigger organic providers, you tend to have to buy from stores that can buy it packaged or either try to buy as bulk as much as you can. So today's video is all about what we feed our animals and how you could get it, because this could be for anybody who's not living close to those places who can buy 2,000-pound tote sacks for your animals. All right, so we're going to start in our garage next to the smallest animals that we actually have. So our meat birds are in here now, and our little ducklings. Anytime we have meat birds, chickens, poults, or ducklings. Now poults, we try to get a higher protein grain, but we usually go with a Purina organic starter grower feed. It's non-medicated feed. Basically, it's just a crumble. It's 18. I think it's 18%. This is what we use to kind of get our birds on a starter grower mix, especially right when they come out hatching, or either if we buy them from a hatchery like our meat birds, they start with that and pretty much stay with that until we move them to a laying crumble. Now, here's the kicker. If we have meat birds, if we're raising meat birds, like these are the Freedom Rangers, and of course we have the Cornish Cross. We've raised three sets of Cornish Cross this year. We use that starter grower as pretty much what the meat birds stay on the whole time of their life. It's 18%. We cannot find an organic quality meat bird mix that it's better than that. So we've been buying the Purina Start and Grow. It's 18%. That's what we use for our meat birds. Also, that's what we use for our chicks and any ducklings and any of the layers as their chicks, basically when they're small. But we keep the meat birds on it the whole time. Okay, so we're back out here in the big shop. You see the same stuff. The Purina Organic Starter Grower. Again, that's for our meat birds and our chicks. Now, when we talk about our layers, we use our layer crumble. Let's see if I got some here. We use two things. We use a 6-way blend or organic crumble and really a scratch grain here. This is the scratch grain. This is actually a Do More. I use a Do More or a Purina. Now, a Do More is a Tractor Supply company. It's not my favorite, but that's the only place I can get organic 6-way scratch that's either non-GMO or organic. Now the crumble, this is the crumble. It's a 16%, and this is made by Purina, also USDA organic. So we use that for our crumble feed. It is a 16%. We're gonna give you prices on all this too. So we pay. Hey, it's getting the nets. We gotta move the lambs. We pay $22 or $23 a bag for our organic starter, Purina starter. We pay about $18 or $17 to $18 a bag for the 6-way, scratch, and then 16% we pay anywhere from $18 to $22 for it too, per 50 pound bag, sometimes 35 pound bag, depending on what company. But if you're buying from Tractor Supply, that is usually the most economical. We try to buy local, so this is all basically local except for the 6-way scratch grain. Purina makes one. It's called a 3-way scratch. We like it, but it's not as much whole grains as the Do More. Now I want to show you this. This is an all stock Do More non-GMO feed. Now we cannot find a pig feed local around here, and we can't even ship one in without paying literally $40 to $50 per 50-pound sack. Well, if you know raising hog, that's not sustainable. So here's what we do. We use a 12% sweet feed, which is not meant for pigs, but here's what we do. This is their base. They're also supplemented with the milk and also alfalfa. Alfalfa is 18%, so we're using an organic base alfalfa. So we basically mix their feed, so they're getting whole milk, they're getting all stock 12%, and they're also getting organic alfalfa. That is what we've tried to do for our regimen of our pigs. If you start them young, they're in the forest, they're eating supplemental through the forest, but also they're getting the quality grains they need that's non-GMO, and they're getting organic alfalfa. Now, if you're trying to change their diet from a conventional feed, we've tried that, and it's been hard, and it makes the pigs not grow nearly as fast. So what we've done is start them off on these things when they're piglets. Also, they get what's in the forest. And so you see we're in the pig forest. So you see they get tons of undergrowth and grass and weeds and all kinds of stuff under here, grubs. I mean, they eat anything. Forest and the milk. So that's kind of what we feed our animals. We're paying $15 a sack for the Do More 40-pound non-GMO feed from Tractor Supply, and then we also pay. We buy Stanley organic alfalfa. You can buy that Tractor Supply. We buy ours local because we buy it in bulk, but we pay $22 a bag for 40 pounds of the organic alfalfa, and we'll talk more about that with the cows. Okay, of course, for the sheep, they're like the cows. Look, boom, they have tons of grass. They are ruminant animals, so we really try not to feed them at all. Now, what we do is we give them treats. So, for instance, they have a bucket right here of some more alfalfa. They also eat the same organic alfalfa at $22 a bag. Not a lot. The only reason we get them used to it is because we want them to follow. So right now they're standing there waiting to move because they know they're going to come into new nets, and we'll give them a little treat. So that means when they get out, like last time, about a week ago, they got out and we basically pulled right up, had the bucket in their hand, they ran straight to us because that's what's training them. It's great for them. They don't get a lot, but they get just enough to make them be obedient and follow us. So they're here, they're ready to move. We're going to go and get these nets set up, but that's what we feed our sheep. And lastly, we'll talk about the cows to finish up. By the way, look at this grass they just came into. Man, look at this. Look at the finish line. Look at that line right here. You see, there's some grass still left in there, but it's just junk they're not going to eat. Grass. And let's make our way to the cows. Look at them running. Other than this gorgeous grass you see here for the dairy cows and also beef, the cows get a supplemental feeding basically when we milk them. You don't have to, but again, we're trying to teach our cows that they're a family milk cow, not livestock. So we do feed them, again, Stanley forage. We're using alfalfa, organic alfalfa. Now, say for instance, that's 18% protein. Say you want to mix up their diet a little bit. They can have the non-GMO all stock, or they can have an organic all stock if you can find it. But the Do More, we've used the Do More all stock just to change up their diet a little bit, to give them a little bit more fat, because that has a little bit more fat than the actual grass. Here's another option. Alfalfa is a great kind of all-purpose grass feed. Timothy, say for instance you're seeing that your cows are getting a little harder manure. They're not pattying up like they're supposed to, and that means they may be getting a little constipated. Timothy grass is perfect for that. Timothy forage is also from Stanley. They provide a pelletized and also a bale. But what Timothy does is not high in protein, but it's high in fiber. So a great additive if you're needing to mix some of their grasses they're eating. Also, we love feeding orchard grass when we can find organic orchard grass. Stanley does a non-GMO that we've used before that we've been very pleased with. It's about $15 a bag because it is just non-GMO. But again, it's a good balance. They love it. It's actually, to me, is more palatable to them sometimes than even the alfalfa. So they really like it. The alfalfa helps them. The thing about alfalfa, they love eating it and they love coming to it, but they can't gorge themselves out on it. So it also helps maintain their diet. They won't eat a lot, and they'll go back to being ruminant animals like they're supposed to, eating this beautiful grass. So I hope that helps. That's just some of the things that we feed our animals. Places that you can't get close to those major grain mills. We have a grain mill that's local, but they don't produce non-GMO or organic. So we have to buy ours. So a lot of times we're buying Stanley forage for our grass and cow and sheep needs. Also supplemental feed for the pigs. We're also buying from Tractor Supply a little bit, and then we're buying from a local co-op that can get our Purina, Nutrina, natural feed All those are good names that we're using here on our farm. So if you have any questions, link them down here. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about how sometimes it's easier to buy from a big box store when you can't buy from a local grain mill. We don't have that option, so for us it really works well. And we buy locally now from a co-op who has kind of embraced our thinking. So our chicken laying feed, Purina, our starter grower feed, our Stanley forage, and then of course our supplemental alfalfa. All that stuff comes from our local co-op now. Just because we've worked really hard with them to try to get this good based organic style program for our animals, and they see that it's really working. The only thing that we cannot find locally that we're still having to go to Tractor Supply for is the pig feed that we're having to use, the all stock that we're mixing in with alfalfa. So guys, hope this helped. Again, good luck feeding your animals. It's all what you're feeding them is ultimately what they're going to be feeding you. So remember, keep them healthy and they'll give you healthy food for your sustainable farm. God bless. Happy homesteading, y'all.